The man noticed something strange after work. A woman in red was sitting alone in the quiet countryside, but it was already 3 a.m., and the last bus had just left. What was she doing here this late at night? He couldn't figure it out, so he turned to leave. But just then, the woman moved her finger slightly. He thought she was about to say something, but even after waiting a while, she stayed silent. He figured it must have just been a coincidence yesterday, but the next night after work, she was there again. 2 nights in a row waiting for the last bus late at night. He figured something must have happened to her. So with good intentions, he walked up to ask, but her response was really strange. She said she was waiting for the bus. He quickly told her that the last bus had just left, but she just brushed it off and said, "It's fine." Obviously, it's like a perfunctory answer. Still, the man didn't think much of it. "It's so late, why don't you use my phone to call your family?" But again, to his surprise, the woman didn't care at all. Instead, she asked, "Do you know me?" The man froze for a moment. "I've never seen you before, how could I suddenly know you?" Now he was really confused. Since she clearly didn't seem to need help, Jeff turned and left again today. But on the 3rd night, the woman was still sitting there. Felt like she'd loved him in her past life. She just kept asking if he remembered her. This was a first for Jeff. Could it be fate sending him a girlfriend? So he casually invited her over to his place to wait out the rain. And the woman stood right up immediately, like she'd been waiting for this all along. At this moment, Jeff thought he just got lucky, but he had no idea. Danger had already locked onto him. When he entered his passcode, the motion sensor lights in his house flicked on. But strangely, the moment he stepped inside, all the lights suddenly shut off in a creepy flicker. The man rushed to turn them back on, but the woman behind him suddenly stopped him. That was odd. Was she just not into having the lights on for that kind of thing? But seeing her already step inside, he didn't say much more. After all, he'd been single for nearly 30 years. And now this woman was soaked from the rain, her curves showing through her wet clothes. That made his heart race even more. So he hurried to grab a towel for her, hoping maybe she'd appreciate the gesture. But after she wiped herself down and handed the towel back to him, something terrifying finally happened. The man was so shocked he couldn't speak. Her fingernails were actually growing inside. He realized he might have brought something unclean into his home. He pulled himself together and stepped back out, but then the woman suddenly set down her suitcase and crouched down to open it. That scared the hell out of him. What could she possibly have in there? Was it some kind of weapon? As the zipper slowly slid open, the woman stared at him without blinking. He looked down, and just as he feared, it was full of dangerous tools. The man instantly began to tremble. Now he truly understood the cost of bringing a woman home, because she wasn't even human to begin with. Once everything was over, the woman was ready to leave with her suitcase. But unexpectedly, a little girl walked in from the other side. The two passed each other right at the doorway. Normally, no one should be able to see her, but the girl, Daisy, seemed to see her perfectly clearly, even greeted her as she walked inside. Looks like she just found her next target. What she didn't know was this little girl wasn't someone to mess with.